Hi guys, it's Sarah Kukie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how I made these super juicy pork ribs. So I started out by getting some amazing organic pork, which was from Mutageja farm. It comes packaged like this. This is 1 kilogram of pork, and it's really decent pork, really organic and fresh smelling, all the things basically. So the first thing that I did was to basically get this sort of like film like thing off of the back of the ribs, because it tends to get quite chewy, and I was trying to avoid that. So that's the first thing that I did, is I was trying to cut it off, and I was also getting rid of as much fat as possible. I know some people will totally judge me for this because they like the fat, but I prefer, like, you know, as little fat as possible. So I try to remove as much fat as possible while still keeping enough of it to get that like crunchy texture at the end of it all. So I did that for both of the pieces, and after I was done, I literally just washed it all off. I always make sure to wash my meat. Got rid of, you know, some extra fat still while I was washing. And then after washing, I pat dried the ribs with a kitchen towel to get rid of any excess moisture before I put my rub on it. So I pat dried it pretty well, and I highly recommend this because the meat produces enough moisture of its own, so you don't want it to produce any excess. Now onto the dry rub. The dry rub consisted of garlic powder, which you can see here, and I think these are like maybe 3 tablespoons of garlic powder, some chili powder, quite a bit of paprika, and a little bit of cumin. And then I basically added some salt, of course, salt to taste, and mixed that all up. So mix it all up pretty much and get rid of all the lumps. Once again, salt to taste. Then this is black pepper, so I used quite a bit of black pepper because I love the taste, and that was actually just a bit of spice that is mixed spice, so you can also add that in as well. So what you do is you just put the dry rub on all sides of the ribs. This is such a good method because when you put it in the oven with the dry rub, there's something it picks up. It picks up mostly the salt and those flavors that get in there before you put on the wet rub. So do that for your ribs, and just make sure the spices get everywhere. So once that is done, put it on a baking tray lined with foil and pop it in the oven. Make sure the oven was preheated to about 225 degrees Celsius. While that was cooking up, I made some potato wedges, and I like the skins on. So what I do is when I get my potatoes, I wash them really well to get rid of the dirt. And then, yeah, I just like cut them up into wedges and get ready to spice them up so I can have some nice potato wedges with the ribs. So to season the wedges, I used paprika and some garlic powder, some oregano. Oregano goes really well with these, and some salt and black pepper as well as some olive oil. And I just like mixed it all up and made sure that they were all fully coated with the spices. Once that was done, I put it on the baking sheet with the pork ribs, and I covered it up so it keeps that warmth in. Then I chucked that back in the oven for an hour, and I moved on to my wet wrap. So I already had some leftover wet wrap from when I made chicken a while ago, but basically what it is barbecue sauce and some garlic. As you can see, I crushed about 4 cloves of garlic, and I basically just eyeballed the barbecue sauce. Then I mixed that all up very nicely. Added a little bit of honey, just to give it a kick of that sweetness. Mix that all up. I then added some ginger. You can do either the ground or the fresh ginger. So I added a little bit of the ground ginger in there and mixed that all up quite nicely. And then added a little bit of salt into the mixture, as well as some olive oil. And yeah, that's all you need for your wet wrap. So after 1 hour in the oven, the potatoes were ready, and you had the dog. The dog was pretty happy with the aroma, so was I. So I got rid of the potatoes and just put them in a bowl, and as you can see, they were quite nice, not too overcooked, just cooked just right basically, and they tasted amazing too. Then I put the wet wrap on both sides of the ribs, as you can see here, and just make sure to coat every single part of the ribs essentially, for maximum flavor. So after the coating, I popped that back into the oven for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, I got the ribs out, and as you can see, they look pretty amazing. So this is when I cut them up, and I totally advise that you cut them up after you're done roasting, grilling or whatever, rather than before, because when you do it before, they really dry up. And there you have it. The ribs looked amazing. They were very tender, very flavorful, very juicy. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment.